Hey everyone, you're watching DeFi Talks with DeFi Dad. Hey, thanks for joining us. It is Thursday, June 9th, 2022. Today, I'm joined here by Alexis Masseron, who is the co-founder of Atlendis. Atlendis is a new DeFi protocol for under-collateralized lending to crypto institutional borrowers, which includes DAOs. And I'm especially excited for that because I think DAOs are going to need to be able to more frictionlessly borrow funds. And because their reputation's at stake, that in a way acts as collateral. So anyways, Alexi, thanks for joining me. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing great. Thanks a lot for inviting me.
Yeah. And per usual, we just spent the last 15 to 30 minutes talking. So we always pretend like we just hopped on, but here we are. So Alexi and I actually worked previously together at Consensus. We didn't work on any projects together, but it was I'll say he worked on one of our most awesome teams based out of the Paris office. And so I wanted to just quickly highlight like some of the cool projects you've worked on in the past, or really just what has been your background working in crypto. And then, what prompted you to start building Atlendis?
Yeah, I actually have a technical background. I started working as a software engineer, and I discovered blockchain and crypto in general in 2017, which led me to join Consensus in early 2018. And I actually started working in a project at the time, which was basically building DeFi before DeFi existed. Like we were trying to work on a derivative platform, and it maybe it was a bit too soon, I would say, but it was super cool. So we worked a lot on this, and then moved to more enterprise projects, I would say. So that's kind of my background.
Yeah, I'm curious, and this is, this is truthfully something I'm not aware of. Like, what moved the needle for you to start building at Atlendis? Like, this is a use case in DeFi that I think still has less than 100 million in terms of like total value lock that's been lent to crypto institutional borrowers, and I mean, it's a use case that I would imagine is going to grow as large as what we've seen with over collateralized lending and borrowing. So I guess, what finally moved the needle to start building this?
Um, I actually participated in a hackathon with a few colleagues of mine, ex-colleagues of mine from Consensus, back in early 2021. So the hackathon was called Market Make and organized by the Ethereum Foundation, and it was a 1 month hackathon. So we took part into that. The product was built and sponsored, was built for DeFi and sponsored by the likes of 1inch, Aave, Chainlink, etc. And so, the two big features that were featured by Aave at the time and released were the credit delegation and the flash loan. So we kind of came up with the idea of using the credit delegation feature to delegate unused collateral, which was sitting on Aave and doing nothing, to a liquidity pool, and we could use those funds to actually borrow against and lend unsecured to vetted institutional. So at the time, like the idea, business case wise, was not that like well oiled, but
Right.
it was or matured, and it was like the, in a nutshell, like the beginning of what we have today. So we still continued on working on that on the side, and then eventually it became what it is today.
Yeah. That credit delegation by Aave is still very promising for I think some new protocols or even just new UIs to develop. But I think we all recognize the longer you're in this space, obviously the more sort of reputation you have at stake. And, there have been other under-collateralized lending protocols like Maple and Goldfinch and I want to say TrueFi that have seen quite a bit of growth. What's really interesting to me, and we'll start to show this off and how it works, is this is built on Polygon, which first off, I think is really smart because obviously you're reducing the sort of gas fees that are spent. And then second, this is, and we'll talk a bit more about how this works. There's an order book matching. So there is a sense of what is like a passive yield that I can earn where you're redirecting my deposited stable coins into Aave versus when I actually match with the borrower. And in this case, those borrowers are two DAOs, Diversify and Zigzag, which again, I think it's really interesting. Like this is an early example of what happens when you have a DAO that can borrow. They have a lot of reputation at stake. They actually have a token, at stake that folks could potentially sell off, I guess, if they weren't maintaining their loan. But Alexi, do you want to start to show off the application as we talk through this, or anything else you'd like to share before we get started?
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Let's do that. First off, I really wanted also to bounce on one of your comments, and especially on the layer 2 situation. We, like you mentioned, we have an order book structure, which allows us to have a fair rate discovery on the lending side, and this is also like kind of gas heavy in terms of gas consumption. So that's why for us it was really important to go there, and because I think going on layer 1 would have kind of reduced the traction that we would have at launch. So that was one of the main reasons in the beginning. And we really wanted to have, we did put like a great deal of effort to have a really capital efficient protocol. And that's why, you mentioned it, but we are deploying funds on Aave when they are not matched. We are distributing rewards as well that can be distributed by the borrower, et cetera, et cetera. So I can start sharing my screen so that what I'm saying right now makes even more sense, because it's always more interesting when I have something to present. So this is the main page of the Atlendis protocol. So right now we are on Polygon, and this is actually live. So we have two pools, a bit more than $1 million worth of TVL across the two pools. One is Diversify, and one is about Zigzag, and we have roughly around 1,300 lenders. So you have the main pool, you have your dashboard with your various, in which you have your various positions. Here I don't have any because I just have a demo account here.
Alexi, quick question on that. So let's pretend that I deposited 100 USDC today into one of the pools, and then a week later I deposit into that same pool some more USDC. Will those show up as separate positions?
Exactly.
Okay.
So each time I deposit into the pool, my position is represented as an NFT. So my position is unique in this sense. So for instance, here, what you can see is that you have a pool, you have various status and data displayed on the pool, such as the status, which is here open. You have the TVL, the credit limits, and various APYs. So I think we will be able to talk about the various APY and how you can get one or the other. You can also have some more description on the protocol itself, what it does here as well. And for instance, if I'm going into the pool, I can go here, click on visit pool, and here I'm actually inside the main dashboard of the pool. So you can see that I still have the status, the credit score, which is given by one of our partner, Xmargin, the description, borrow limits, pool utilization, which is 0% because the borrower didn't start lending yet. The maturity here, it's 2 days, so it's very, very short maturity. and it's because like it's suiting a very particular use case, which is fast withdrawal. So we are powering up one of the new feature from Diversify, and the maturity that they were looking for is around 48 hours. And so here you have various APYs, like I was mentioning. So the active APY, which is here 4.5%, the reward APY, which is 0%. I will explain why. And the 1.3%, which is the yield provider APY. So basically, the yield APY is when you are yield provider APY is when you are not matched with the borrower. I will explain how you can be matched and not matched. But basically, when your funds are not used on the protocol, we take your funds and we place them on a yield provider. So at least you get this yield. Right now, we are integrated with Aave v3 and Aave v2. And that's why, like you see 1.3%, because right now, Aave's yield, USDC's yield on Aave is 1.3%. The active APY is what you get when if you are matched with the borrower. And so how do you can be matched with the borrower? So we need to go to the order book. And so this is, I think, the big most important part of the deposit panel. And the order book is an order book of rates. So you can see that it goes from 2% to 15%. And so as a lender myself, I can actually select a rate here from 2 to 15%, and I can actually deposit my funds inside the order book. So I can go at 5% or 6%. And I can deposit my funds. So here I have 1,000 USDC in my wallet. So I can see that there is 98 lenders in the pool. There is 0 USDC currently borrowed, and there is 126K deposited in the pool. I can see that the average lending rate is 4.5%, and the average borrowing rate is 0% because obviously it did not start. So right now, basically, we are doing the average of the every ticks that we have in the order book. And so what I can and what happened really is that when the borrower starts borrowing, we start from the lowest rate and we go up until the higher rates, the highest rate. So to really understand how it works, I need to actually be a borrower myself, so I can show you actually the borrowing panel. So this is the app which is live on Polygon, and I just want to switch to a demo environment on which I've been actually allowed as a borrower myself. This way, it will actually allow me to show you exactly how it works. And so I just need to change accounts.
Some of while you're doing that, a few of the unique differences that I noticed with this is the fact that you are able to, as a lender, choose what's the rate that you want to lend at.
Exactly.
That's something, as far as I know, I've not used any DeFi lending application like that yet.
It is like, for us, it was a really big choice, and because it induces more complexity on the protocol. It induces more complexity on the technical side, on the smart contracts, but it also induces more complexity on the UI side. So lenders, you need to understand a bit better what they are doing. And so that's why we spend a great deal of effort, and we have amazing designers, UI designers, and UX as well, and front-end software engineer that worked on the UI and produced this, I think, amazing UI that allowed us actually, if you count the number of clicks that you need to do to place an order in the order book and deposit, it's 3 clicks. So we actually decided to do all of this and have in as simple as it can get, basically. And so to go back, we did actually the same for the borrower side, because we wanted to have a very graphical representation for borrowers. So here you can see like here I'm actually XYZ DAO, and I'm willing to borrow DAI. I'm allowed to borrow DAI, and my credit limit is 10K. So there is 14K in the pool. So in this case, there is more funds in the pool than I need to borrow, and you will understand how it works pretty quickly. If I want actually to borrow 5,000, this is exactly what I will be borrowing. So I will be borrowing 5,000 at 5.3%, and the remaining amount will be 5,000. If I want to borrow 7,000, I will actually be borrowing at 5.5%, and there will be a remaining of 3,000. So let's say now I want to borrow everything. I will be borrowing 10K. So at 5%, there will be a remaining of 0. And basically, if I start a transaction, what happened is that I will perform my transaction. My transaction will be pending. And what it will do is that it will take all the funds that are inside the tranche that I want to borrow, lock them, and place the rest on Aave. So at least the one that have been not matched, they will be getting Aave's yield, and the one that are being matched will get their yield. So we don't dilute lenders, right? So people that have been matched at 5% will get 5%. People that have been matched at 6.5% will get 6.5%. So that's why actually when and so here you can see like it's borrowed, on the other it's deposited. If I go to the pool, here you see like it's changed. So now the status is borrowed. There is a difference in layout. And if I go here, you can see that, okay, I'm matched or I'm not matched. And so it's important because like this is also one of the difference that we have with other protocols, is that we don't dilute lenders. So when you actually go on the protocol, so if now I'm actually switching back to the mainnet, which is the app pool. So I actually need to change from Polygon and then changed account. Perfect. So here I'm back. If I'm actually going here and I visit the pool, I can see that people that have been matched at 2% will get 2%. People that will be matched at 8% will be getting 8%. So it's just a matter of, okay, actually you want to get and that's how we actually attain the market discovery. It's because if you take like if you place an order which is like super high in the order book, like 14 or 15%, you have high chances to not be matched with the borrower if there is more liquidity in the pool. So basically, if there is more liquidity in the pool, you will be the first to be not matched. And so you will, instead of getting the 14%, you will get the 1.3% on Aave. So that's why like it put pressure on the lender, but it basically guide lenders to move towards a threshold or like a medium value, which represents exactly actually the rate at which the most part of the lenders are comfortable lending their funds to the protocol. And so I think it's a much better and much healthier way of discovering prices than having like a centralized black box that does that.
Yeah, no, there is a lot of there's a lot of complexity here under the hood, because I, as a lender, can go in and choose whatever rate then. So basically I can decide like at what rate am I even willing to lend? Like maybe I want a higher rate, and if the borrower doesn't need to borrow that, then I can later change the rate, which there's a really nice sort of option there in the UI. You can take an existing position that hasn't been matched, and you can offer it then at a better rate to potentially get it matched. If I have, okay, so let's pretend that I, as a lender, put up a 2% rate, and then Diversify here borrows that.
Yeah.
Now let's assume that there's still like, let's pretend it's a pool that has like $1 million USDC in it, and they've only borrowed 100,000 USDC.
Actually, if I go, if I'm going here, like we have this, like If you go on Zigzag, there is like, okay, nearly a million USDC here. So you can see the order book here. And so,
let's pretend I want to withdraw it early. Like I put some money in, it gets matched. Zigzag is now borrowing my 1,000 USDC, and I go back in a few weeks later. Am I able to withdraw that? Like, are you doing like, basically, are you moving technically these positions around, and then Zigzag would pay a higher rate because now they've been rematched with someone else?
So that's some advanced logic that maybe we should take into account. But it's let's say like there is two ways to exit the pool. So let's get it right into it. Like, for instance, let's actually create a position. I see that there is nothing at 7%. Okay, like just for demo purposes, I'm going to deposit some funds on Polygon, and I don't know why sometimes it actually the approval is not.
It's the Rudy Kadosh from Nested Finance called that the demo effect. He's like something always like is amiss anytime we try to demo it. But
actually, like that's one of the issues that we have been encountering a lot from part of our community, is that MetaMask sometimes has trouble actually to like estimate the gas price of on Polygon, especially when there is a lot of transactions, and so sometimes like it fails, and so sometimes like people think it's the issue comes from our protocol, but actually it's just like they need to put a higher gas estimate on MetaMask, and sometimes MetaMask is having some weird UI issues, but otherwise like it's pretty smooth. So here you have, you can see that my position has been put in the order book, and you can see there is a very little tick inside the order book. And now here I'm on the deposit panel. So inside there is here various other panels that you can access to. So you can have access to the withdraw panel. And I can have actually access to my position here. So my position here, since it's an NFT, I have my ID. My ID is 1885, and I can see that I deposited as a depositing rate. I've been in the pool since less than an hour, and this is actually the amount to withdraw, my total rewards, my realized APY, and right now this is what I'm getting, because actually I'm getting the yield provider APY. So I can, it shows now inside my dashboard, and it shows also inside the history panel. But if now I'm being matched, I won't be able actually to withdraw anymore, because the funds will be taken by Zigzag. So what I would be able to do is actually sell my position. Since my position is an NFT, I can actually resell my NFT. But for that, right now I can't do it because like the status of the pool needs to be borrowed. So that's why like when the status is open, we push lenders to no, there is no need to sell your position. You can withdraw it. If the pool is borrowed, well, no, you can't withdraw it, but you need to sell it. So that's pretty much it. And even and also like if your position is not matched, and I can actually change my rate because like I think I'm not going to be matched, or maybe I want to be actually not matched for whatever reasons, I can actually select a higher or a lesser rate. So for instance, I can actually change my rate to go at 5% because I want to be sure to be matched with Zigzag. And so I just have to, I can just perform one transaction, and it will actually burn my NFT and issue a new one inside the order book. So yeah, that gives you a lot of control. And there, like the order book now is being adjusted, and that's pretty much it. Yeah. So my got burned, and now I'm here.
Yeah, I think the takeaway for me was there's more predictable controls that I have here to decide like what is my money worth lending to lock up here. And then in terms of some of the details you need to know about like when you'll be able to withdraw,
Hmm.
can you remind me, are these all expected to be like 90-day, loans, 180 days, any sense of like, yeah, how long will these terms be for,
So
especially while Atlendis is still really new?
yeah, so we have like, so in terms of terms and maturity, so we have like a very specific pool which is diversified, which has like a 48 hours maturity, and then for the majority of the borrowers, we usually see maturities going from 30 days to 60, 90 days. But we try to keep it shorter in the beginning, especially for
Right.
borrowers to build credit history. It's easier, obviously, to build credit history when the maturity is lower. But yeah, and I think it's also like nice for users in terms of user experience.
I agree. I was really interested that Diversify only had 48-hour terms, but technically, I mean, there could be multiple lenders in there who are continually adding new positions. But if I lend to Diversify, they should be paying back that
Yeah,
position within 48 hours. Really
that
interesting.
is
Did they ever
that is correct.
explain what I should just look at the description, but what did Diversify say they're using the funds for?
So it will be in order to power up their new feature that they announced, I think, yesterday.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah, I think it will be nice to cover that. And yeah, we will be mainly using they will be mainly using that for fast withdrawals.
Very interesting. Yeah. And again, this is an example of building DeFi for
Yeah,
DeFi. I think sometimes
yeah.
we hear about, you
I mean,
know,
this use case is purely about DeFi. It it wouldn't make sense to have this kind of loan and credit line in TradFi. And
right,
here it's purely because like we are powering up a very specific use case that happens only because like in the blockchain ecosystem you have multiple chains and L1, L2s, and so money needs to flow from one to another, etc., etc. And so and there is gas costs, etc. So yeah, basically this credit line solely exists because we are in DeFi, and that's actually I think super
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. I think sometimes we as a community, especially when you talk to those outside of the DeFi builder space, you want to like shoehorn use cases into DeFi. And I think there's just so much demand right now for these DeFi native use cases. And this is one. Like I would love to be able to flip my mortgage into Atlendis, but it doesn't make sense right now based on the profile of who's lending. They're
Yeah.
expecting these shorter terms and also too, I would imagine too, like the rates probably wouldn't
I
work out
mean,
here in my favor,
yeah. I mean,
but maybe in the future.
yeah,
In the
exactly. I
future,
mean,
I'm excited for that.
exactly. And I mean, right now, obviously, it's the very, very beginning for us. And in the beginning, we need to start small. Like, we can't go and like open credit lines to anyone and
Right.
start building on the very hedgy use cases. So we start very with vetted entities which have reputation, financials, KYC, KYB, and which we can be very confident and have like in which that we have like 99.9% chance that they will repay basically. And when we'll have like built like a more robust ecosystem, better still continuing on upgrading our reputation, we will try to obviously tackle more risky use cases because we'll also be able to build more robust like method prototypes to basically assess the risk better for users.
Yeah, yeah, and one last thing here to note. So there is no token as of today with
Yeah,
Atlendis. So just be aware, like this is still in the early stages of
yeah,
having
definitely.
just launched. So there is a process here where the core team is vetting and selecting those borrowers, whether it's a protocol, a DAO, potentially like a crypto market maker. There's all sorts of like Web3 type entities here that you could be lending to. But few reminders here: if you want to learn more about Atlendis, whether you're a potential lender or a borrower, you can go to atlendis.io. They also have in their documents FAQs and lots of tutorials actually around some of the topics we covered here today, like how the order book matching actually works. Highly recommend following Atlendis and Alexi on Twitter. And obviously, if you go to their website, they've got a Discord there as well, where you can, interact more with the team. But Alexi, anything else you think we should cover here? Anything else you want to share before we go?
I don't have anything specific in mind, but I'm super pleased that you invited me, and I really want to thank you and your community. And definitely they're interested in taking a closer look at our protocol. Definitely dropped in our Discord. We'll be super happy to help you guys and walk you through our protocol, and hopefully have a super cool experience.
Yeah, and congrats on you all just reached about 1 million, I think, in total value locked. So
Yeah.
again, still early. You can also learn about their audits that have been completed, and as always, just be mindful. Like with any DeFi, there's always risk. So if you deposit into Atlendis, despite the audits, despite all the vetting they can do, there's always a risk of smart contract exploits and all the other sorts of risks. Yeah. Just be mindful of that.
Yeah, I agree. We did our best, and we really followed the best practices that are in the ecosystem, and worked super hard and conducted a lot of audits, as many audits as we could in this short span. There is no such things as 100% safe in DeFi. So yeah, we recommend everyone to do their own due diligence before coming onto the protocol.
And then when is the bug bounty program expected to launch?
It's under review right now, and it should be launching early next week.
Excellent. Yep, that'll help as well. Well, if you enjoyed this, you can subscribe at DeFiDad.com, and we'll continue to review and share and learn about new DeFi applications like Atlendis. And Alexi, thanks so much for your time. This was so much fun to walk through. And like I said, it's a DeFi use case. I think in a few years we'll look back and laugh, because this is one that
I hope so.
I could see trillions deposited into just this use case alone. So hoping that I can eventually, like I said, flip my mortgage into something like Atlendis. But anyways, thanks for joining us, everyone. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks.
Bye.
Have a good day.